El recinto universitario de Mayagüez presenta Foro Colegial TV, la revista informativa del acontecer del antes, ahora y siempre colegio, con un siglo de historia aportando a la educación del país.
Saludos y bienvenidos a Foro Colegial, la revista informativa del recinto universitario de Mayagüez. Soy María Mludín Brosa, directora de la oficina de prensa del colegio, y es un placer nuevamente compartir con los amigos y amigas que nos sintonizan a través de este espacio educativo del acontecer del antes, ahora y siempre colegio. Más de 100 años forjando profesionales de excelencia. Por más de 30 años, los investigadores de Aprovecho Research Center han utilizado tecnologías para mejorar los procesos de confección de alimentos de más de 60 países. Sobre eso hablaremos hoy en Foro Colegial.
A continuación, la entrevista de hoy de Foro Colegial.
Saludamos nuevamente a los amigos y amigas en sintonía con Foro Colegial, y para hablar sobre Aprovecho Research Center se encuentra con nosotros Mike Hatfield. Él es director de proyectos internacionales de esta empresa que utiliza la tecnología apropiada. Le damos la bienvenida a Foro Colegial. ¿Cómo se encuentra?
Oh, gracias, muy bien. ¿Le molesta si hablo en inglés?
No, para nada, pero gracias por darnos la bienvenida en español. Muy bien. También se encuentra con nosotros el doctor Christopher Papadopoulos, quien fue que invitó a Mike a venir acá al recinto universitario de Mayagüez y compartir la experiencia de Aprovecho Research Center. Le damos la bienvenida. También Mike nos va a dar el saludo en español, ¿verdad, Chris?
Buenas tardes, gracias.
Sí, ellos van a estar hablando y contestando las preguntas en inglés, ya que se sienten más cómodos, y vamos a estar conversando con ellos sobre la experiencia en Aprovecho Research Center. Primero le quiero preguntar al profesor Papadopoulos, ¿cómo llegan en contacto con el Aprovecho Research Center?
Well, Mariam, I must say, as a journalist, you would normally not be the focus of the interview, but I must acknowledge you. First of all, our project at our campus, which has the acronym GREAT IDEA, which stands for Graduate Research and Education in Appropriate Technology, Inspiring Direct Engagement in Agency. One of our aspects of our project is to sponsor courses, and we have a course in the topic of appropriate technology. The subtitle of that course is Towards Sustainable Well-Being. And last year, we had a series of lectures in that course given by other professors and faculty on our campus, including you. And so when you gave your lecture on organizational culture, you had chosen in your own research to focus in particular on Aprovecho Research Center. And after I learned about Aprovecho from you, I learned more about them. And later, last year, we did another project with our students, which was to host a sort of alternative job fair. And what that meant was we wanted to present the students with opportunities for employment that they might not normally see in the job fair or the standard advertisements, but things that had something to do with engagement with the social context in a very important way. And so I had contacted Mike about that, about being on a webcast with our project, and he agreed very graciously. And as it turned out, a very happy coincidence was that his project, which he'll tell you about, had already planned for him to also come to Puerto Rico, so it was very much of a good match that all of the, as we say, the stars aligned. So that's how we became in touch with each other, and I hope this is the beginning of a very good collaboration.
Y de esta forma, pues entonces Mike comparte con nosotros en el recinto universitario de Mayagüez ante una gran audiencia de estudiantes. Sí. Estuvieron muy atentos a todo lo que le tenía que decir. ¿Cómo ha sido su experiencia en Puerto Rico? How has been your experience in Puerto Rico?
It's been great. I mean, the people are just very nice, and so on that side it's been wonderful. My family was able to join me, which they don't usually get to join me on this type of work, so that was wonderful. And students were very excited and engaged. I just met with them again this afternoon for a hands-on use of the stoves, and they were actually testing the stoves and giving them some hands-on feedback from use, and so it's been a wonderful experience.
Y antes de comenzar a hablar sobre Aprovecho Research Center, el hilo conductor de esto es lo que se llama el tópico de lo que es la tecnología apropiada. Ya el doctor Papadopoulos nos ha estado hablando en un programa anterior sobre esto, pero para beneficio de los amigos que pues no conocen qué es este concepto de tecnología apropiada, y para introducir lo que hace el Aprovecho Research Center, ¿qué es eso de tecnología apropiada?
Well, that's a very good question, and we could have an entire conversation about that. But one way I think of appropriate technology is that It's technology which is designed not only with the intention, but ultimately with the participation and what we call co-design with the community in which the technology is meant to be used. And there's of course a very traditional interpretation of appropriate technology which has to do with developing technologies for developing countries and other communities that have what might be called, so to speak, lower technology needs. But in general, appropriate technology can apply to many different contexts, including the other countries like Puerto Rico and in the Western world, where we think of ourselves as wealthier, but in the same sense, we must also be responsible and good stewards of our resources, and appropriate technology also can speak to those issues as well.
Y en el caso entonces de Aprovecho Research Center, ¿ustedes vieron una necesidad de unas comunidades en específico con relación a la forma en que confeccionaban sus alimentos?
Yeah.
¿Qué pasó?
Well, so we work globally around the world, and half the world's population is still cooking on wood-burning stoves. Often, working in little small kitchens where the children are with their mothers during this time, and there's very much smoke. So there's a lot of smoke, and the kids are breathing it where their lungs are developing, as well as the women for their entire lives, from when they were kids up until when they're adults cooking, are also breathing the smoke. So we work in places all over the world trying to make improved options, working with the people to develop new designs that the cooks like and that can be produced locally for inexpensive.
Cuando ustedes dicen que trabajan con la gente, when you say that you work with the people, what is what you do? ¿Qué es lo que hacen?
Okay,
¿Cómo
bueno,
buscan las necesidades?
Okay, yeah, so really what we do is we are engineers that co-design stoves with the women who will be using the stoves. Basically, I would say it's a relationship between ourselves as engineers, cooks who will use the stove, and then usually an organization that is going to be implementing a project to bring improved stoves. So all those are the stakeholders that have a say in the stove design. And so our job is to usually go in and, working as a group, come up with a design that can be accepted and used in a community. And so it's just a wonderful little relationship that gets borne out in every community I find myself working in. And so that's one thing that Aprovecho does, is look at stove designs. The other thing we're looking at, because a very important aspect of stoves, improved cook stoves, is the fact that they do not produce smoke that is so damaging to health. The World Health Organization has now made a realization that one of the leading causes of death for children under 5 is breathing wood smoke, respiratory illness that comes with that. They know now that it's a killer larger than even malaria. And so the attention is now greatly on how do you evaluate improved cook stoves for their health benefit or lack of benefit. And so Aprovecho does, besides stove design, also works on emissions equipment, which allows people to actually view a stove from the lens of, is it producing harmful emissions to the cook or not? So we produce improved cook stoves and designs, as well as emissions equipment to allow people who are trying to make improved stoves to know whether these stoves are truly improved for health or not.
Para beneficio de los amigos, estamos hablando con Mike, él es de Aprovecho Research Center. Ellos se dedican a buscar tecnologías en países que son subdesarrollados y todavía cocinan y dentro de sus residencias quemando las maderas, que esto puede ser muy tóxico para los niños y todos los residentes del lugar. Ellos han desarrollado un tipo de olla, de caldero, que pues reduce esas emisiones para las personas en esas comunidades. Can you tell me examples of communities? ¿Me puede decir ejemplos de comunidades que ustedes han impactado?
Yeah, I mean, we worked about 50 to 60 different countries around the world, but so I can give you some examples of, I worked for many years in Central America, developing a stove with a wonderful woman named Justa Nunez, and we ended up developing a stove with her we now call it the Justa stove, which has a great double entendre, and that has now been produced in the hundreds of thousands throughout Central America, all the way from Panama really up into southern Mexico.
Así que cada vez, Mike, que visitas a una comunidad diferente, ¿diseñan un caldero, una olla diferente basado en las necesidades? ¿Cómo es el proceso?
Más o menos. So, because I mean, there's two ways that we go about it. The one is that part of my job will be to go into a community and actually, with the cooks and with the local people, design stoves. And that is a wonderful job to do, and it's fun and exciting, but it also, for that to happen, it takes a lot of resources. You have to go to one place and you have to work. So we we do that, and we do that very excited to do that. But the other option that we have is we mass produce styles of stoves that can be made by the thousands ordered and shipped in containers. And in that way, that if that stove is accepted as it is, then we have that option. So my job now is usually to go into community, kind of what I did today with some of the students, and I bring some stoves that we can right now send very inexpensively by the thousands to a location and see if those are accepted. And if they are accepted, great. And if they're not, then we try to produce something the community would actually like.
So, cuando van a ese proceso que están con las comunidades, por ejemplo, en el caso de Justa, luego que ve el producto final y lo utilizan, ¿qué reacción ellos tienen? ¿Ustedes miden hasta ese momento?
Yeah. So we have actually a very almost scientific system to where how we first start with the design. We work with a local group of cook. We call it a design committee, and they use the stove, give us feedback. We maybe make a few changes. At the same time, we're working with producers who might be producing the stove to kind of refine how they might produce the stove in the most inexpensive way, in the most durable way. And then we bring it back to the cooks, and we do once again a design committee to see how the cooks like it, and it's kind of a biofeedback system that goes to the design change, to the manufacturing, and back and forth until we are finalized on a design that the cooks really enjoy, the manufacturers can produce at a cost that's acceptable to the user.
Cuando me dices un costo aceptable para el usuario, estamos hablando de comunidades bien pobres. ¿Cómo ustedes determinan el costo apropiado para el usuario y tienen ellos el dinero para comprarlo?
So not only that, it's different in different locations.
Okay.
So the price that people can pay for the most part is what they would want to pay, because we do work with mostly communities that make as little as $1 to $2 a day. So disposable income is only a few dollars a month maybe they really could have to spend. So if our goals are to have our stoves as cheap as possible, but of course we want them to be durable too. So we work with stoves that can be as inexpensive as $5 up to some of our more expensive stoves are maybe in the $50s to $100 range. And that just depends on what the community, the people will choose to pay. You know, I work in some very poor areas where everyone has very nice cell phones. So people can choose if they want to save, but it has to become a priority for them. So every community I work with is different, how much they want to pay. So another part of our job, or really the OHNEAs, the NGOs we work with, is to do education, to let people know how important this will be for the health of them and their children, so that they will maybe choose to put some part of their resources, the minimal resources they have, towards an improved cook stove.
Esa es la razón por las cuales ustedes no las regalan, aunque busquen auspiciadores. Ustedes tratan de que la gente lo compre.
For two very good reasons. The first is that we really want people to value it, and we just know, and I've seen this for myself, when you pay for something, you tend to take a little more care of it. You're invested in it. You buy into it. So that's one reason. The other is because really we want to create sustainable markets. We don't want to just give people 100,000 stoves or 50,000 stoves. We're working with a group called the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves, and their goal is 100 million improved cook stoves by 2020. So to reach that goal, they can't really be just given away. There's just not that ability. So what we want to create is a sustainable business. We want to go into communities and help develop little entrepreneur producers of stoves, or a system of, even if you're importing them, that some people are selling and making just enough money to be able to keep their business going. So we can leave and this project will continue to implement and bring in good stoves without us involved.
Nos tenemos que ir a una pausa, pero cuando regresemos vamos a continuar hablando del interesante trabajo del Aprovecho Research Center que ha compartido también acá con los estudiantes del recinto universitario de Mayagüez. No se retiren, por favor. Y de regreso a Foro Colegial, estamos compartiendo con Mike Hatfield, director de proyectos internacionales de Aprovecho Research Center. Estamos compartiendo con el doctor Christopher Papadopoulos. Él es el director del proyecto Great Idea del recinto universitario de Mayagüez, el profesor de Ingeniería General. El doctor Papadopoulos ha invitado a Mike a visitar el recinto universitario de Mayagüez para compartir con los estudiantes que han tomado y que están tomando un curso relacionado con tecnología apropiada sobre las experiencias de Aprovecho Research Center. Aprovecho Research Center, a través de sus investigadores, han creado tecnologías para que las personas en países en desarrollo puedan cocinar de una forma que se pueda para maximizar la salud y la calidad de ese proceso de confección de alimentos en esas comunidades. Ya han impactado más de 60 comunidades entre Centroamérica, Asia y África, y quieren seguir impactando otras comunidades porque tal vez nosotros no conocemos eso porque tenemos nuestra estufa en cada una de nuestras residencias, ya sea de gas o eléctrica, pero estas emisiones que tiene este proceso de cocinar con la leña y dentro de las propias casas de estas personas afectan mucho a la salud de estas comunidades, específicamente a los niños también que están en esas comunidades. Así que a través de este proyecto, Aprovecho Research Center ha impactado miles de personas y quieren seguir impactando a través de diferentes proyectos que tienen auspicio, que tienen aval a nivel de diferentes organizaciones a nivel mundial. Y de eso es lo que hemos estado conversando. Ambos entienden el español, por eso les hago las preguntas en español, pero se sienten más cómodos conversando con nosotros en inglés. Dr. Papadopoulos, how the students, ¿cómo han reaccionado los estudiantes con relación a la visita de Mike y a la necesidad de tener investigadores en el área de tecnología apropiada?
Right. Well, first of all, with respect to Mike's visit specifically, the students were very enthusiastic. As you mentioned earlier in the previous segment, there were over 100 students that came to hear his lecture last Thursday. And in general, and this is part of the genesis of our project, is that students do crave, they really do seek meaningful types of employment and research opportunities. While many of our students are very technically able and they enjoy the technical scientific aspect of research, they also want to see that the work that they're doing is being very put to very good use. And what I think is wonderful about these stoves is that these actually have very sophisticated scientific knowledge that is required to optimize them. And so what I think is really wonderful about this example is that many of our students, ranging from, let's say the chemical or mechanical engineers who study combustion processes to electrical engineers that study sensing devices, or business students that want to think about marketing, all of these students have something that would be equally as challenging as any other project they might do from a technical point, but it also provides them with an experience that they might find is also deeply meaningful from a social perspective.
O sea, en otras palabras, hay otras opciones, como en el caso de industrias que utilizan la tecnología apropiada para desarrollarse, y ustedes están buscando que los estudiantes conozcan un poquito más sobre eso.
Well, if I understood your question, I think
there are other options besides the industry, the main industry.
There are other options.
So you want the students to get interested in these other options.
Yes, and I should say, this is not to say, of course, that the other industries are not valid or not important. In fact, we need the students in general to seek employment in the government agencies and the standard industries that we have. But we also need more students to work on projects like these because of the large impact. And as Mike mentioned earlier, when you have 3 billion people using this kind of process of burning wood for cooking food, we have to begin to ask ourselves, where is the product of our own knowledge going, and for what purposes? And so this is not even simply about trying to be a saintly person. That might be part of the person's motivation, but it's really about having a real impact for a very large part of the world that still might be invisible from our perspective, because in our culture, we typically don't necessarily see these kinds of issues every day. So it's also about having our students become more globally aware about the very high impact that they could have.
Pero la motivación personal es bien importante, y ese fue el caso de Mike. Estabas interesado en ir más allá, en buscar algo más. That was your experience. You wanted to work in something that you liked.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wanted
to help people.
I wanted to find something that would, one, keep my intellectual interest going, and two, do something that I would feel like I'm actually impacting the world in a way that I could, in a good way. And so, yeah, those two things were very important. And so that's what brought me to stoves.
Are very important in a professional that wants to work in this area.
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. I would say definitely, like, finding something that, one, is keeps your intellect going, but also just keeps you feeling like you're making a difference. It's a good key to success.
Aquí tenemos entonces un ejemplo de las ollitas.
Yes.
¿Cómo funcionan?
Yeah, so I would say, so this is a good example of one of the most inexpensive, you could say, rocket stoves. So what Aprovecho has, Aprovecho works with many designs, and we're not particular to any design, but one thing we did create, or Larry Winiarski, my mentor, he created was called the rocket stove. And what it is, it's a very simple design that does a good job of making combustion happen, which brings up smoke, and then also making the heat transfer happen, which reduces fuel use. So the two things you want to do in a stove is you want to have good combustion so you're not producing smoke, and then once you have good combustion, you want to make sure that heat goes into what you're trying to cook. So the rocket stove is just a series of design principles that we ask people to try to follow that make a stove that will do a good job of both combustion and then heat transfer.
So you put the...
Yep, so the wood, the entrance to the fuel is we call it a fuel magazine. And the idea is that it's smaller in size than what an open fire normally would be. So people cannot throw big logs. They tend to chop their wood up a little bit more, and they just can't put too much wood in. So that does what we call metering fuel. And then the other thing it does is usually there's a shelf, which I didn't bring in with it, but a shelf that would hold the wood up, and that would allow air to come in, so it also carburetes the system, so you have the right amount of air to fuel ratio. And then the other thing is the stove, as you may, if you want to, it's very light.
Yeah. No, it's light.
Yeah, I mean, it's very lightweight. And what that does is no heat gets sucked up into the stove body, so the heat goes where you want it to be and the temperatures stay high. And what you need for combustion is high temperature as well as the right mixing of fuel and oxygen.
Lo que nos está explicando Mike es que con este tipo de...
Cuidado porque es un poco sucio.
En este tipo de ollita, de calderito, se contiene la combustión adentro, no como si estuviesen tradicionalmente como ellos cocinan, utilizando la leña abierta, y esto disminuye las emisiones de gases. Ustedes, no sé si es parte del trabajo de ustedes, if it's part of your job, to look about the social and health impact that this technology has in these communities. Have you any statistics about that?
Yeah, no, I don't have any statistics. But what I would say was, I would say people right now are in the beginning stages of doing sociological studies on stoves, the impact and what they do. So we work with different groups who are doing more the sociological side, and we do work with them, helping create study designs and things like that. But really, we're in the early stages of viewing the impact of the improved stoves on. So that's a work in progress. So no statistics yet. And to a lot of ways, people for health, especially, let's say, the studies have been for many, many years with cigarette smoke. For what that does. Wood smoke, which has a slightly different quality of smoke, is somewhat a little more new in the studies. So really in the last decade and a half, have people really been doing more studies on that, and now they're getting into the sociological aspect of, will stoves get accepted, how do they impact? So all our evidence right now is anecdotal. Like, I've worked in communities for 15 years now, where I've returned those communities and seen the impact. And I think, except for the firewood salespeople, everybody seems to have been pretty positively impacted.
You have the direct feedback of the communities.
Yeah.
And they use it, or they go back to the wood burning?
I'd say we have a pretty high acceptance rate.
Okay.
So once again, I would say it's all anecdotal, but I'd say in the 80 to 90% acceptance rate, or even higher in some communities. It varies from community to community. A big part of our projects that from the beginning we've said is that we will only do projects if we can return to the communities and make sure there's a strong educational component, and that really has been a reason for greater success, I think, than maybe Aprovecho in the early days had, in the sense that we make sure that there is a strong educational component and returning with people. And if you don't like your stove, why don't you like it? Why aren't you using it? And also maybe creating some educational groups with women in the communities that they can talk to each other about why stoves are working or not for them. So we have a pretty high acceptance rate.
Mike, hablábamos anteriormente del costo de las ollitas y cómo la comunidad lo paga. O sea, ¿cómo se hace esa logística en el caso de que me estabas diciendo que en algunos casos ganan $1 y ese realmente es el sustento del hogar? ¿Cómo planifican para que ellos mismos puedan pagar esas ollas?
Yeah, so we have different systems and we work with different communities of different strategies of how the stove can be made affordable. So this is an example of probably our most inexpensive stove, and this stove might cost somewhere between $5 to $10 by the time it gets to a stove selling place. So in that case, that is something people really could save and just pay directly for. Now we work in some other projects where the stove might be, because what they want is a big fixed stove that has a lot more material, that might cost in the $50 range or $100 range even. In that case, you can work with microfinance groups. We worked in Bolivia, for example, worked with a microfinance group that allowed this to be a project that an item that they could actually pay in installments with. So that's one way. Then we work with sometimes organizations which will subsidize part of the work, some of the work, and then the people just have to pay maybe $10 or up to $20 for some important aspect. And in that case, once again, they would have to be saving and pay. And so every project's different and every stove is different for the community.
¿Por qué el nombre de Aprovecho Research Center? Que nosotros sí eso lo entendimos. Aprovecho Research Center.
Yeah, so Aprovecho was born in Guatemala in 1976. There was an earthquake, and these people that originally started Aprovecho designed a stove, and it was called the Lorena stove, Lodo y Arena. And so anyway, so that's really where Aprovecho got its start, was in Guatemala, and so they took on the name Aprovecho to make good use of.
So that's where you learned your Spanish.
Oh, actually no. Yeah, I got better in Guatemala for sure, but in Honduras. But I learned my Spanish in university, and then I lived in Ecuador.
Muy bien, muchísimas gracias por estar con nosotros. Los interesados en conocer más del proyecto de ustedes, ¿dónde pueden acceder? ¿A la página de internet de ustedes?
La página de web es aprovecho.org. It would be the best place. We have lots of information, and my contact is there, and I welcome questions if people are interested in our work.
Y los interesados en saber más del proyecto de Recinto Universitario de Mayagüez.
Yes, our webpage is greatidea.uprm.edu.
Así que seguiremos hablando de tecnología apropiada. Gracias por visitarnos acá en Puerto Rico y el Recinto Universitario de Mayagüez.
Muy amable,
gracias, profesor. Amigos, historias como esta, ustedes las pueden acceder en nuestro portal www.uprm.edu. También nos sigue en las redes sociales a través de Facebook, Recinto Universitario de Mayagüez, y en Twitter, Prensa Room. Será hasta una próxima ocasión.
Hasta aquí, Foro Colegial TV. El espacio del acontecer del Recinto Universitario de Mayagüez, producido por su oficina de prensa. Para comentarios o información adicional, puede escribirnos a prensa@uprm.edu. Gracias por su sintonía.